Happy Facebook Live time. Hi, stamping friends out there. My name is Melissa Kerman with Melissa's Crafting Treehouse, and I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. And I've been paper crafting for over 16 years, and I love it, and I love to share it, so thanks for being here. I am actually on 2 hours earlier than usual, so it's 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here. Normally I come on at 7 p.m. Given the holiday season, double booked myself for tonight. Whoops. So I have a holiday party to go to later, which should be super fun, going with my husband. So here I am, a couple hours early, and hopefully if you weren't able to catch the live, you're catching the replay either here on Facebook or on YouTube. So comment and let me know if you're out there. Maybe we'll be catching some new people who are not able to normally come at 7. So let me know who you are, where you're from. Introduce yourself. It'd be great to meet you. So I have just 2 quick little announcements, and then I'm going to launch right into the projects for today. Hi, Amy. Welcome. Let's see. This is some stuff I've been really anxious to share. I shared it at the pre-on-stage event back in November, and it features a technique that's brand new, and I think it's original to me. I've never seen it done anywhere else. I call it reverse resist masking. I'm sorry, reverse resist stamping. Still coming up with my name. So anyway, so quick announcements. The clearance rack has lots of new items on it, up to 60% off. So go check that out in my online store if you're interested in getting some great deals. And the second thing is my product share reservation window is still open. It's going to be open until January 4th. The new catalog goes live on January 3rd, so I leave my shares open for just one day in addition, so that people who may not have received a catalog can see a catalog online if they're interested in those shares. And I do have a tab on my website dedicated specifically to product shares, so you'll find all the details there. And I see some more people are joining. Yay. Good to see you here, Robin. So I am going to turn the camera face down, and I'm going to show you what I got today. And so, yes, I think you're going to love this. I was super excited when I sort of discovered it or invented it. So here we go. So I also, the project today is also a fun fold or a fancy fold. I think I've seen it called a flip fold card. Fun flip fold, something like that. It's an F alliteration. And the card that I showed when I presented before on stage, I used this stamp set, the 2 Every Season set. This is in the holiday catalog. This set and the punches are retiring. It's a punch pack of these 4 punches, and they are super cute. I just love them. I've had a lot of fun with them, demonstrated several projects with them. The punch pack is actually on sale. It's since it's retiring. The stamp set is not, but if my calculations are correct, even if you buy them as a bundle, you still it's better to actually buy the punches separate at the discount and buy the stamp set separate. But you might want to do your own math just to double check on that. So I'm going to quickly show you one of the projects I've done. My flip fold card. I think it's called flip flap card. Anyway, something like that. And it will be on my website, of course, all those details about the card and dimensions and whatnot. So I'm going to show you one of the 4, and then I'll show you the other 4 after I demonstrate the actual fold. So this is the card I made with obviously the snowflake theme, and it opens like this. I don't know if you guys have seen this before, but it's super fun. And this I actually used the technique on, so I'm not going to show it too much. I want to keep it a little bit of a surprise, but it's just a very fun little different kind of fold. So I've got, so I'm showing you this card that's done with the 2 Every Season, but I created the set of 4 cards with that set back when I demonstrated, and of course I had to play with some of the new products that have come out or that are coming out in the mini catalog in January. So I'm doing a different color scheme, different stamp set. I'm using something new, so you're going to see several things that are new from that catalog. So I'm going to start with showing you the cutting and scoring of this. Now I'm using a piece of cardstock. This is actually mint macaron. It measures 5.5 by 6.25. Now, the cutting might seem complicated, but it's really actually not. Essentially, I have a 1-inch frame around the whole outside. And you can do this in whatever way you want. It could be a smaller frame, although it would make it a little bit flimsy. It can be a bigger frame. I've seen them done different ways. But mine has a 1-inch frame. So what I'm going to start with, and this is the brand new Stampin' Up! Cutter, is I'm going to line this edge up with my 1-inch mark. And I'm actually going to bring in my little template guide here, maybe off to the side so you can see it. And I'm cutting from the 1-inch mark down to the 4.5-inch mark. So it's in 1 inch. And then I'm going to go from 1, and this is a little bit hard because I can't see right over the top. So, and of course I have to make sure I have the right blade. So this is actually the scoring blade, so I'm using the cutting blade. And get that right in there. So I'm going from 1 to 4.5. And then I'm going to flip it over and do the same thing on the other side. And since I'm down here at the 4.5 mark, I'm just going to start there and go up to the 1 mark. Now to flip this, you guys can have the guide that you're watching at the same time. And I'm going to again line this up to the 1-inch mark on the right. Now, the way this is cut, it doesn't go all the way across. The first time I actually made this, I was not thinking very clearly, and I went all the way across, but that kind of messes it up because you need this binding to hold it all together. So I'm going from the 1-inch line where I actually cut before down to the 2 5/8 inch line. And now the binding is 1 inch wide, so I'm going to lift this up. And then I'm going to go to the 3 5/8 inch line. A little hard to see without being able to get right over the top. Let's see if I can. Yeah, it's about right there. And then I'm going to bring this down to this other cut line. So you can see how I'm getting those cuts, and then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So from this cut line down to 2 5/8, lift it up, bring it to 3 5/8, and then down to the other cut line. Now, if you don't quite make it to the corner, you can just, you can go back in with your cutter, or you can just carefully rip it apart. And now I need some score lines. Now the score lines are only going to be at the to the cut line. So now we got to make sure I'm using my scoring tool now. And I'm going to line this up, and it should be at the 3 5/8 inch mark right there. And I'm just going to score it, that top inch and the bottom inch. What's that happening there? Oh, the scoring blade was not quite in there, so I got to do it again. Now this sort of locks at the top, so the best way to lift this up is to lift it from the top. And then I'm going to bring this now down to the 2 5/8 inch line and do the same scoring, the top inch and the bottom inch. And then this is going to be a mountain fold. This is going to be a valley fold. You guys know what I mean? And then there we go. Easy peasy, right? So anyway, so there's the basic card construction. Now sometimes I find that this, the back part, if it's not exactly precise, it hangs over the edge just a little bit, and then I'll just put it into my cutter and trim that off. So that's the basic construction of this card. So now what I'm going to do next is I'm going to show you the technique, because this technique is especially fun on this card, because we're going to make 2 pieces sort of out of one, and because we have a front side and a back side, it's super fun to use it that way. Okay, so the technique. So now, has anybody done the masking tape technique? You guys know what that is? Basically taking a piece of masking tape, putting ink on it, and then stamping with it, essentially. So now we're doing a variation on that. I have a video on my website just specifically on the masking tape technique, so you can go look that up on my YouTube channel if you want. So we're doing sort of an additional step. This is like, you know, just a little bit more. So what I've done here is I've heat embossed using, it's an image from the Positive Thoughts stamp set. This is a brand new set that's going to be in the January to June mini catalog that's coming out in January. I just absolutely adore that image there in particular, the fern. I'm kind of crazy for ferns. So I've heat embossed those images all over this piece right here. Now I've gotten myself started here. I'm going to show you the other steps just so that just kind of give me a little bit of jump start. So now I like to start with my masking tape first at the bottom and then at the top. And you can use any kind of masking tape, any thickness, the blue tape, this tape right here. Either way, it all works. So I'm going to start with my pool party. And I'm just going to take my piece of masking tape. Now, I've created, and I've labeled it just to make it easy. I've created like little handles, so I folded it over at the ends, and that way, I don't know, it just feels like I have a handle there. And I'm just going to place it right onto my ink pad. Get a piece of scrap paper and just firmly press it on there. Now, the lines are telling me the width of my paper, and you can see the width of the paper is just a little bit wider than the width of the ink pad, so just need to move that over a second time. Now, if I didn't press it as firmly as I just did, I'd get more of a texture in the background. You see it's a pretty solid inking back there. If you wanted more of a texture and you don't want it as solid, don't press this hard. And it's just a different look and also very fun. So now the lines tell me what the outside edge of the paper is, and that's going to become really important in a minute. So now I'm just pressing my pool party on there. And then my third color is my mint macaron. And I played around with a bunch of different colors on this just to sort of find a good combination. And for the ferns, I thought the greens would be especially nice. Now, I did find if I used colors that were too light with this technique, it didn't quite work very well. So, and I'll have some other tips for you as well, just a bit. So there's my mint macaron. And then I'm just going to place it right there in the center. Now, if this didn't have heat embossing on it, you could stamp over the top with any color you want. Black is what I've done mostly. I did some lovely examples with the Lovely as a Tree stamp set. That's what you'll find if you go look it up on my YouTube channel. So now this is kind of where the magic begins, and where it becomes so what did I call it? Reverse resist stamping, okay? So you guys know what a resist is? Do you guys know that a heat embossed image is glossy, and it's a non-porous surface, the heat embossing. So it resists ink. So that's what's going to happen when I pull this up. So I'm going to start, I'm just going to pull it off the paper to begin with. Now I've got a second piece of paper here because this is where the other part of the technique comes in, and I'm just going to carefully tear it off. And you do have to be careful because it is masking tape, so it's got stickiness on it. Now you see there's some texture, some shapes in there. The embossed image essentially resisted the ink, making some of that ink stick to the tape instead of absorb into the paper. So I've done my stamping, it's resisted the ink, and now I've reversed it, sort of, and I'm taking the ink and putting it onto another piece of paper. So that's where the technique name came from. So now I'm going to take off my pool party. Again, that's got the same pattern on there, and this is where the lines on the edges of the masking tape really come in handy, because if I line it up just as it was, then my images should look continuous. Okay, so I'm going to do my mint macaron next. Again, lining up those lines on the edge. And now I'm essentially stamping with that reverse resisted ink. Okay, so now I need a paper towel because there's two things going to happen here. So here you can see there's ink sitting on the surface of the embossed images because of the resist. So I'm just going to carefully rub it off. Now I don't want to rub where the white lines are because I'm trying to keep that pattern there. And you can see now my image, that lovely fern image now is showing where it was kind of modeled before. Keep removing the ink. Again, I'm going side to side, not this way, so that I don't get the ink on the white spaces between. So there's my beautiful masking tape technique with heat embossing, and now we get to see what the reverse looks like. Maybe I should zoom in. Let's see. I don't know that I don't think I can zoom in on Facebook. I'll bring it up to you guys. Okay, so here we go. Now it looks a little bit, different. It's kind of an interesting sort of textured image. A little bit different from the sort of more clean stamping of the heat embossing, but you can see how it sort of appears. Now this was just kind of a brainstorm one day as I was playing around, thinking of different things that I could do with the masking tape, and I had done something heat embossed and realized there was ink on that masking tape and thought, wow, wouldn't it be fun to just try it out? So there's my reverse image, and I think it's pretty darn cool. What do you guys think? I hope you guys think it's cool. Okay, so that's the technique. I'm going to show you a couple of other things that I did with it with some different stamps. And now I have also done a finished card with this particular design. So this is my finished card. I cut this piece down just a little bit so that I could frame it with a piece of white. And then on the back side, I've got the reverse stamping, if you will. Now these die cut pieces are made with this set of dies. This is also a new set of dies. It's part of the Grace's Garden bundle, this amazing set right here. Yes, I do, Amy. Love it. When you play around, you find something new. It's so fun. So anyway, these dies are just so pretty. I have actually made one thing. I just love that sample in the catalog. So this stamp set and these dies. So it's these little delicate ones that I've included here. And I just put a little bit of glue on sort of the bottom half and then let the top half sort of be raised up so I'd have a little bit of dimension. So it pops back and forth. This sentiment, sending positive thoughts and feel good wishes, is also from the Positive Thoughts set, so super fun and exciting. So I just love this, had so much fun with it. Now this image probably worked better than many of the others that I did, just because it's a pretty solid, image. Some of the other ones that I did were not as solid, was a little harder. So a dark line image, like this is fairly a simple image, worked pretty well because you can see the snowflakes are pretty distinctive. I'm going to show you some of the other ones. The 2 every season set of cards. I did one for each season. So Halloween. And again, this stamp set is retiring and the punches are retiring. The punches are on sale. I just love those cute little bats. I'm not like a huge fan of bats, but I think they're fairly cute. And then this one here, my fall leaves themed one. These will all be on my website, of course. And I think this is the one that came out probably the best, just because those images are so, just a single line, very clear and easy to get that reverse image from the resist. So those are those ones. Now, I also tried playing around also with the Positive Thoughts set with some of the other images, and just to show you what I did. This one here was the stamping, clear embossing powder, of course, again, with, let's see, I used the Mango Melody, Daffodil Delight, and the Pineapple Punch. And then this was my reverse. I wasn't super happy with it, only because the images sort of weren't distinct enough. You lose a lot of the detail in the butterfly. So I didn't end up deciding I wanted to make something with that. But I did do one where I embossed with black embossing powder, just I thought it would maybe show up a little better, and I thought this just turned out beautiful. The reverse wasn't quite as exciting, so I felt like I was trying to do that, flip-flop card thing. So I wanted to add some black in, but I actually don't know that I'm going to use this one, but I think I'll use this. So you can decide whether you like the back side or not, and which ones you decide to use or not. This was another one. That one actually came out a little bit better for the reverse stamping. And let's see, what else did I have to show you? Oh yeah, here's another one. Now, this one I did with the Grace's Garden, and the images were a little bit, kind of too detailed maybe. It's still kind of pretty, and I'm going to show you something next that will allow you to help those images be a little bit more distinctive. So if you decide to use a set like this and you come up with an image that's not quite as distinctive as you like, there is a little bit of a fix for it. So I'm going to show you that next, and that'll be pretty quick. Actually, before I show you that, one more example. This is a nice solid image. This one is done with the Rooted in Nature, that tree there. Now the reverse didn't come out quite so to my liking, just because this green was so pale that this tree, the one that was this portion, didn't show up very well. But I loved how that turned out, so that was kind of fun. Okay, so on to the next thing. So now this set is the focus of the next project. This is the Happy Birthday to You set. It's a celebration set. So for those of you who are not familiar with Celebration, it starts January 3rd. Everybody gets free stuff, basically. For every $50 you spend, you get a freebie from the Celebration catalog, and this is one of those items. There's level 1 and level 2 items in the catalog. Level 1 items you have to spend $50. Level 2 items you have to spend $100. So this is a level 1. So for this one, I used the main cake image, and you can see, I was thinking it would work well because it's a line drawn image, but it's not a super bold line, so it didn't quite come out as crisp as I wanted. So what I did was, and now this is what I used. Now this one I did the masking. It's heat embossed with the clear, and then I did masking, the masking tape with this thick blue tape, and I'm going to reveal the whole thing to you in just a second, but I want to show you what the fix would be. Also, for this one, I could do the same thing. So I'm masking the top and the bottom, covering the white line that was the gap between the pieces of masking tape, and my color in the middle there is Flirty Flamingo. So I'm just going to do a little bit of sponging, and what that's going to do is kind of fill in where the masking tape kind of didn't fill in enough. So we're just going to do that all over the image. And hopefully you guys could appreciate how sort of muddy that image was before I did this step. Probably should have brought it up close. I don't know, did I do that? Can't remember if I did or didn't. Anyway, so now that's so much more distinctive. I'm sure you will agree. And now when I reveal it, I've already done the sponging on the bottom half and on the top half, so you can tell. And so now I have a pretty beautiful, distinctive image there, and so I'm pretty happy with that one. And so I decided to make a card both of both front and back. And now I just need my adhesive. So I'm going to quickly put this together, and then I'll show you the two different versions of the card. One with the masking tape technique and one with the reverse resist. So the three colors here are Melon Mambo, Flirty Flamingo in the middle, and the Petal Pink on the top. For some reason, pink just seemed like the right colors for a cake. Dimensionals on the back side. The other card is already put together as well. So kind of my routine when I do my Facebook Lives is the next day I post to my website photographs of the projects, all the dimensions and supplies in case you want to recreate them. So you'll have a resource for checking it out. So I've also used, what is that one called? I forget what that embossing folder is called. I'm sure somebody out there knows. It's in the current catalog. And then I'm just going to go ahead and attach this to the front. I'll show you the second version. So this was the negative, the reverse resist inking with the masking tape, and here's the first version. So I like how those turned out. And then last but not least, this one is called, I think this one's from the stamp set Beautiful Day. This is another example of doing the technique. Very distinctive lines, so I think that's actually probably an ideal stamp set to use this technique with. So haven't made a card yet of it, but you just, you know, get to see some of the playing that I've done and what I've learned along the way. So I'm just going to turn the camera around and say some quick, let's see, goodbyes, reminders, and then I'll get on to going to the holiday party with my husband. So thank you so much for joining today, and I hope you enjoyed my new technique, my reverse resist stamping technique. Maybe we'll give it a try, and if you do, let me know how it goes. I would love to hear that. So for next week's Facebook Live, I will actually not be here. It's the day after Christmas, so I've decided to take the week off. Hopefully you guys will all be with friends and family and enjoying lots of yummy food and relaxing and cooking. But I will be back on December 2nd, and of course that's the day right before the new mini catalog goes live, and of course 2 days before my product shares reservation window closes. So I'll be back in a couple of weeks, and check out my blog post tomorrow if you want all the details about these projects and additional photographs. And I hope you enjoyed today. So have a wonderful, happy, safe Christmas and safe travels to anybody who's traveling. And I will see you in 2 weeks. Thanks for spending time with me today. Bye.